This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened.
In an emergency, life or death decisions must be made instantly, often without enough information or equipment or help. And the memories of those moments become indelibly etched. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of people in danger and the men, women, and children who come to their aid on Rescue 911. We begin in a residential neighborhood of Washington, D.C. Much of the footage you'll see was taped early on the morning of August 30th, 1988, as tragic events unfolded. Events that local fire department rescue workers still cannot forget.
It's still just like it was yesterday, like it's been embedded in concrete in your brain.
Exact words I don't remember. I believe it was said, "Scotty, this one's not going to make it."
I knew that the fact that people were being trapped in there 4 o'clock in the morning, that possibility they never woke from the smoke, and that we were probably going to find them in the bedrooms.
You always think of the worst case scenario, what you're going to do and how you're going to handle it. Always the worst fear is that children are going to be involved.
Fire department, help you?
Please, fire department, it's an emergency.
What's on fire?
A house, and children are in the house.
Box alarm edges 22.
We were woken up by the bells, slid the pole, got on the apparatus. I was running with truck company 11 at that time.
We knew before we got on the fire ground it was bad fire.
Block of Missouri Avenue, northwest. Everybody goes.
It was dispatched for children being reported trapped on the top floor.
The adrenaline in the body starts pumping. It scares the hell out of you.
I have a family of my own. I have 3 children. And you seem to want to go that extra yard to help children. They're more or less defenseless and just want to do the best you can for them.
A neighbor was screaming. The babies were still trapped upstairs. I had to get them out because I knew the fire was progressing awfully fast. Maybe I was thinking also of my own 2 kids. As I was making my way up the steps, the heat was getting pretty hot. You know, there was no visibility. Went to my right, found one room. In the room I found some stuffed animals. So I figured that was the room that they were in, but was unable to find anybody. The heat was getting worse, so I knew I had to scramble and hurry up and try to find these kids before it got too hot. I made my way back into the hallway to find another room. Everything lit up. Everything was orange, and I knew the room had flashed, and it was time to get out.
another firefighter, Greg Tennell, came out of the building. He was smoldering at that time. He had gotten caught in a flashover. We knew that the building was hot. And, but just the fact that we knew children were in there, we knew we had to go in and get them. I met Captain George Bennett at the window, and we busted out the window and the window frame, and I entered the room at that time.
Once Kevin left the window, without having any means of traveling back to the window other than touch and feel, I stayed at the window, made a lot of noise to be his lifeline, to allow him a means of getting back to the window once he discovered the children.
It was hot, dark, heavy smoke. I proceeded to work my way around the bed, and I came to my first victim. I believe it was the 6-year-old child.
He returned to the window with the oldest of the 3 children, handed her through the window to me. I reached across the porch roof and passed her over to paramedic Wilmer Scott.
The first thing I heard was, "This one's dead." I said, "No." I'm thinking she's too young. She's too pretty. It's my daughter. She's not dead. She was non-responsive, non-breathing. I knew right then and there we could not leave. We had to start right there. I started talking to her, telling her, "Please come back, stay with us, we can make it."
Entered back into the bedroom and again worked my way around the bed, found the 2-year-old child.
I took the second child. He appeared lifeless. Your hope for the child is pretty slim. It was a frightening experience for anybody. You can read all the books you want, and practice all you want, but until you actually do it, you have no idea whatsoever what it's really like. It was a rather hectic scene. I worked on the child for approximately 5 minutes. Every breath I give the child is like his own, him taking a breath.
The 2-year-old boy began breathing.
He still wasn't breathing adequately, so he still needed assistance. But it was a very good feeling, to see him take a breath like that.
The 6-year-old girl was not moved from the porch roof until she had begun to breathe.
When she finally took that one breath, that's all I needed. I said, "I've got this one." And I can't describe the feeling. It's a feeling that you have to experience to know what I'm talking about. That was my child. And being my child, I had to do my best.
Jackie Cutler was placed in the same ambulance as her 2-year-old cousin, Ron Hansberry, and rushed to the hospital.
By the time that we got to the medic unit, put her on the stretcher, and using the resuscitator on her, she was breathing real good. I knew that she was going to make it.
The children had been spending the night at their grandparents' house when the fire broke out. One of the last people to be removed was a family friend, brought out with no pulse or respiration.
It's like you're put into autopilot, and I started CPR. It's something that, at the spur of the moment, you don't stop to think, you just jump in and do it. So you just couldn't see the man laying there without trying to do something.
Though a heartbeat and respiration were restored, 2 days later, the 20-year-old youth died at the hospital of injuries related to the fire.
I re-entered the room and proceeded again around the bed. I came upon, I believe, the 4-year-old child.
It was obvious the child had been in the smoke environment for a period of time because her clothes were heavily soot-laden. Her face was heavily soot-laden. I could tell immediately that she was not breathing, and shortly thereafter I determined she didn't have a pulse either. We immediately began CPR. I have no children, but that night, it was just like Scotty said, that was my child. And there's no other way of explaining it. When you're there and you do what we do, it becomes your child. We were determined that we were going to do everything we could to help this child. We immediately began transport, and maybe about a minute out from Children's Hospital, we got pulses, we got a heartbeat back. She never regained spontaneous respirations. She never regained consciousness.
Despite their best efforts, 4-year-old Gwendolyn Cutler was pronounced dead the next night. More than a year after the fire, Curtis and Joyce Cutler are grateful that their oldest daughter, Jackie, was saved. And they've begun to accept the loss of her younger sister, Gwendolyn.
The Lord had to make a decision with Gwendolyn. We put our faith in God, and we accepted his answer with our daughter.
I've lived 37 years. I might have lived my life, and she never had a chance to really live hers, so I wish it could have been vice versa. But that's the way it is.
Maybe had I gone to the left at the top of the steps, I could have got to the kids' room a little quicker. And maybe that might have made a difference in saving one of the children's lives. That's maybe the one thing that I think about.
You see people save people's lives all the time, but you never actually know what that person went through. But I know I was deeply moved, and I was so touched. And the first thing I wanted to do was simply see him and hug him and tell him how much I appreciate his efforts, because you could see it in him. Thank you. I remember. That was my child. I kept hearing that over and over. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. This particular incident, this family, I guess you might say a little bit of a bond that you were able to help them, and just a good feeling inside that you were able to help them, and it means a lot.
It's a feeling of knowing that I participated in actually saving a life. After so many times I've seen so many lives lost. But I saved this one. When I say I mean the fire department, because no one can take any particular credit. It was a team effort. Everyone did an outstanding job.
Your arm's not gonna fit through, honey. Go ahead.
A poem was written by Mrs. Ethel D. Smith. It was obviously a beautiful lady. And the title is, That Was My Child. That was my child I had to save. That was my child, no cradle, no grave. That was my child, she was so frail. That was my child, Lord knows how well. That was my child, she opened her eyes. That was my child.
I begin to cry. That was my child. I did my best. That was my child. God knows the rest. That was my child.
Next.
Boxcar came through the intersection. The blinking lights didn't flash. The gates didn't come down.
On October 3rd, 1985, Michigan State Trooper David Hare was only an hour away from the end of his shift. But on this day, David would not be able to serve out his time uneventfully. Instead, he was forced to watch as a freak accident on a road outside Northville, Michigan, changed the lives touched forever.
Next,
Boxcar came through the intersection. The blinking lights didn't flash. The gates didn't come down.
On October 3rd, 1985, Michigan State Trooper David Hare was only an hour away from the end of his shift. But on this day, David would not be able to serve out his time uneventfully. Instead, he was forced to watch as a freak accident on a road outside Northville, Michigan, changed the lives it touched forever.
when a train is coming to a crossing, signals, lights, and guardrails are triggered to warn everyone to get off the tracks before hundreds of tons of steel roll through.
The result of death is much higher with these than any other type of land accident. The comparative weight of a train and a car, there's just no match. The train itself weighs as much as 200 automobiles, so there's the engineer actually feels nothing when he hits a car.
Around 2 in the afternoon, George and Celine Jokic were driving west on 7 Mile Road on their way to lunch. At the same time, 2 runaway boxcars were heading downhill towards 7 Mile Crossing. State Trooper David Hare was driving east toward the same crossing.
You got the right to remain silent. Why don't you exercise that right? I was returning to the Northville post with a prisoner I had made an arrest for a larceny and some selling of narcotics at a high school. As I approached the tracks, there was a vehicle in front of me, lady in it that was going relatively slow. My thoughts at the time were, hurry up, because I had an hour left in my shift before I started a 4-day weekend.
There was no warning of the approaching boxcars.
I was just about to cross the tracks, and I didn't even notice or pay much attention to the vehicles approaching me coming from the other direction. All at once, I saw something as large as a house.
Check it on.
Here now.
And I remember thinking that there's no way anybody's going to be alive in that car.
Dawn Kelly saw the collision from her van.
Boxcar came through the intersection. The blinking lights didn't flash. The gates didn't come down. I knew right away that the person who was sitting on the passenger side was going to be hurt.
2116-21.
We've got a serious car train accident 7 Mile in Northville.
They're still southbound on the tracks. There's 2 boxcars and 1 vehicle.
Clear 16, Northville Road, 6 Mile.
The people in the vehicle were my main concern. If anybody was alive, what kind of condition they were in, stopping the damn thing so we could get them out. The only thing I could think of was the brake wheel on the boxcar. I put my foot to the floor. My intention was not only to get ahead of the boxcars, but a 6 Mile road, I knew I could get up to the tracks relatively quickly. The bridge at 6 Mile was of great concern to me. The vehicle's not going to fit across that bridge. If it hits the bridge at any speed, I have no idea what's going to happen. If it's going to dislodge the vehicle, drop it onto the road underneath the bridge, just derail the boxcars, I have no idea. I was well ahead of the boxcars at this point. They were traveling 40 miles an hour or so when they entered the intersection, and I'm sure were slowing due to the vehicle lodged in the front. When I got into view, I could see an elderly gentleman waving out his driver's window at me. Your mind races a million miles an hour in a situation like that. I remember thinking that if I wait for the end of the second boxcar, it's obviously the safest place to board, but there may not be a brake wheel there. I elected to board between the boxcars, hoping that one car or the other would have a brake wheel. When I made contact with that handrail, it deceived me. That sucker's going a hell of a lot faster than I thought. I could tell that the driver was okay. Physically, he appeared to be in good shape. There's no massive bleeding externally or anything at that point. The passenger was critically injured. I ran back to the patrol car, radioed the post, told them that we needed emergency and rescue equipment.
Okay, clear 16. We have fire and rescue en route. We have a unit en route from the post to back you up and take care of your prisoner.
When David had first run to the boxcars, he had left his prisoner unattended.
I knew who he was, and no major thing to find him again. So he was far from being my primary concern at that point. I couldn't see any reason to take him from the vehicle without medical assistance. Just in case, you know, a collision at that speed, you got to have some kind of neck injury. I was reaching down through the windows in order to try to get vital signs on the passenger or render whatever aid I could at that point. There wasn't much I could do at that point.
Where do you hurt, sir? Where do you hurt?
He was ashen, he was in shock. There's no doubt about that. I didn't tell him anything about his wife. I didn't know what to tell him.
I didn't see it either. I know you didn't, sir. I didn't either, okay? I didn't see it either. 1, okay? 2, 3. Okay, sir. You're all right. Just stay right there.
In order to get the passenger out, we had to cut the roof supports on the vehicle and peel the roof somewhat off the car.
George Jokic and his wife were taken to the hospital where he was treated and released. Celine died within hours. George and Celine had been married for 43 years.
We had a very good life together. We did. We very fruitful. We had 2 daughters. Now I have 3 grandchildren. And she was a very good woman.
4 years later, George has made a new life for himself. He's married again to a woman he'd known for years.
You got to realize that there's nothing you can do about death. It's definite. I missed my wife, and I mourned her going, but I realized nothing can be changed. We just got to go on living.
And he and Trooper David Hare have become close friends.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Dave Hare. And if that train pushed me any further, I might have went over the bridge at 6 Mile.
This guy is full of life, full of fun, full of jokes, full of the devil a lot of the time. In my opinion, it just wasn't his time. You know, you see a poor guy it's stuck in a car, and he's going sideways down the tracks, and he's not going to live a lot longer. He's not going to. The car's being ate up. He's approaching a narrow bridge. I mean, what are you going to do? You know, you going to stand there and watch it go by and hope for the best, or going to take a shot at it, you know?
George has a very different view of what David did.
Courageous as hell. Very courageous for what he did. And I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. Because he gave me an opportunity to really, you know, live out my life.
Next.
I knew that if they didn't get her quickly, that they wouldn't find her not alive.
It was shortly before noon on Sunday, April 16th, 1989, outside Tyler, Texas. Stacy Henderson and her 6-year-old friend Joshua Oliver had walked down the road to return a video game to a neighbor. They were just a few hundred yards from Stacy's house when the unthinkable happened.
I'm scared it might happen to me, so I just started running back because if I didn't start walking, he might have got out of the car and grabbed me too. I ran to Dee's house.
He was out of breath and we weren't really understanding what he was saying. And then for some reason it just hit me that Stacy had been kidnapped.
Mama! How do you know? Where?
After he got his breath back, he was able to tell us it was a white man with brown bushy hair, and it was a big brown car. It was bigger than his mother's.
Immediately, Dee Mullins went to look for her 7-year-old sister, Stacy, while their adoptive mother, Velma Henderson, went to call for help.
911, what is your emergency, please?
Dispatcher Tammy Macklin took the call.
Okay, what is your name?
The first call I got was from Mrs. Henderson. She couldn't give me very many details because there was a 5-year-old with her daughter when she was kidnapped, and he was the one they were getting their information from. It was real sketchy.
A white male?
I was scared to death if they waited, he would be so gone we couldn't get him.
Time makes all the difference in the world on a call like this.
Miss Henderson, I'll have a deputy out.
After I got all the information from Mrs. Henderson, I keyed up on the mic and told Deputy Dunklin to 1063 reference kidnapping in progress.
642. Well, I was working a section of that county on that Sunday morning, 15 to 20 miles away from the location where Stacy was kidnapped at.
Deputy Stephen Dunklin headed to the scene.
Several years back, we had a girl get kidnapped out of a church, and they found her dead later on. If we could just gotten her back, Stacy, maybe not be able to catch the suspect, I felt like we've been doing all right. It's not very often that you find a kidnapped victim still alive.
Dee went to the Alsha's house, where Stacy had been headed, to see if she was there.
I was hoping that it was just all a bad joke and, she was down there.
Lois! Lois!
And I asked her, I said, is Stacy here? And she said no. And I said, oh my God, somebody's grabbed her. I think that's whenever I panicked. Oh God, this is real, this isn't a joke. Some nutcase has got her, it's my baby sister.
Jack and Lois Alsha immediately went to see if they could help.
The entire family jumped into our car and we went roaring out of the driveway back towards the Hendersons' house, knowing that someone had Stacy but not knowing who it was.
We don't know any direction of travel that the suspect may have taken Stacy in. There's nothing but back roads in that part of the county. Nothing but back roads, dirt roads, blacktop roads. He could have turned left instead of right.
It's a big county. Smith County, all units, 1063 reference possible kidnapping. That's why when something like this happens, we pick up the phone and we notify all the agencies we can.
Deputy Bobby McGee responded.
Myself and Deputy Brewer were assisting another officer serving a civil paper when the call came in to Deputy Dunklin to proceed on a kidnapping charge. So myself and Alvina Brewer went ahead and proceeded out.
Okay, Josh, I know you're real scared.
While Jack carefully questioned Joshua, Lois relayed the information they were gathering to Dispatcher Macklin.
Described how the car had come by them down the road, turned around at the intersection and come back.
Could you come over here and say, hey, going for a little while. Pretty day, isn't it?
Asking him for a whole lot of information didn't give us very good results, so we asked him for a little bit of information at a time.
Jack then went to gather neighbors for a search party.
I knew that if they didn't get her quickly, that they wouldn't get her, that they wouldn't find her, not alive. So I started calling neighbors. I just got the phone book. I called one by one every neighbor I could think of and told them briefly what happened and asked them to please get in their vehicles and just hit the roads because we didn't know which way they went.
Stacy's been kidnapped. As I went house to house and as my wife called other people in the area and alerted them, there were probably as many as 40 or 50 people out on the road.
And all of a sudden there was a lot of traffic around the Hendersons. Some would drive around for a while and then they would come back to see if anything had happened.
They just seemed like they materialized out of the trees. We couldn't imagine how they had all learned about it so quickly. We were certainly glad they were there and willing to help.
Josh's mother, Lisa Oliver, comforted her friend Dee.
We talked a lot. We was walking down the road and everything, we were talking, and we were trying to convince each other that, she was going to be okay.
There's just so many things running through my mind. Where is she? Is she okay? Has he killed her? Has he molested her in some way? And everybody always thinks, well, something like this doesn't happen to your family. I got news for them. It does. It happens. And it can happen to anybody, no matter where they live, whether it's in the middle of the city or the sticks. It can happen.
When we continue,
It's like somebody reaches in, pops your chest open and grabs your heart and just yanks it out.
It had been only minutes since Dee had last seen her 7-year-old sister Stacy, and even less time since Stacy's 6-year-old friend Joshua saw her kidnapped. But everyone knew if they didn't find the little girl soon, they might never see her again.
It took us about 15 minutes to get to the location where she was kidnapped at. The first thing I asked was who saw the incident.
Josh, you said your name is Josh? Josh, come on back to the back of my car. I need to talk to you just a second.
Joshua said that he had never seen the man before. He had never seen the car before.
It was a brown four-door. Hey, what was he wearing, Josh?
A blue shirt.
Okay.
He said the man had black hair, blue shirt, blue pants. While I talked to him, he never cried. His voice never wavered or quivered. Smart little man.
Okay, do you have a beard, mustache, anything?
Brown
hair?
mustache.
It was a mustache? Okay.
He had hair on his face like he hadn't shaved for a few days.
Okay.
His hands and fingernails were dirty.
Real dirty, like dirt and grease? Okay. Okay. I'm going to put that on the radio. Josh, you did real good, okay?
Josh was very clear in what he had told us about what the suspect was wearing, which enabled us to intensify our search more.
642.
Can't really say I was really surprised, but I'm proud of him. I'm very proud of him. He wanted to know if everybody was going to get Stacy back. He was scared to death the man was going to hurt her or kill her.
It's like somebody reaches in, pops your chest open and grabs your heart and just yanks it out.
Smith County All Units 1063 reference additional information. Suspect is a white male, approximately 6 foot, dark brown hair. Will have a mustache and some facial hair. Suspect will have dirty hands. Should be wearing a blue shirt and blue jeans. Driving a large brown car.
following proper police procedure, deputies Brewer and McGee set up a stakeout at a key intersection.
We had decided to stop every car that came through.
Okay, we got a brown vehicle coming. I guess we'll stop. Yeah, we'll stop it tonight.
As soon as we pulled in behind him, we noticed him accelerate. He was coming up on the stop sign. We turned on red lights and sirens in an attempt to stop him. He accelerated more.
It's going to be be in pursuit of a brown sedan headed 31 east.
He went about 0.2 of a mile and he turned again at a very high rate of speed, and so he was making a triangle.
641 Smith County will be headed south on 211. We got it. Stay on about
He missed the turn, and we could see him headed toward the ditch, and he couldn't go anywhere else. He was stuck there.
Get out of the car! Hey, get out of the car now!
Miss Anderson, they've located the car.
Dee and her friend followed the deputy sheriffs to the scene.
Me and Dee, we kept telling each other, she's all right. They got her, but we were real scared to death.
I did not see Stacy anywhere near the car. The first thing crossed my mind was that Stacy was dead or hurt. I walked up and asked Deputy McGee, where was Stacy? Deputy McGee told me she was in the patrol car, in Deputy McGee's patrol car. And I went over there and asked Stacy if she was all right. I picked up my arms and held her.
You weren't scared, boy.
We're not supposed to let our emotions come in contact with our work, but in a situation like that, it's hard to do, especially with young kids. You just can't do it.
I recognized the suspect. He had lived in our neighborhood for several years. I have a girl that's back then was 6 years old, and knowing that this suspect lived in the same neighborhood as my family really got to me, because it could have been my girl that was kidnapped. It was hard. It was really hard.
I was so happy just to see her, and I was wanting to hold her and know she was okay and know that I would have her, you know, for hopefully many more years.
Deputies found a knife on the suspect and duct tape in a club in the brown sedan. The driver was convicted of aggravated kidnapping and sentenced to life in prison. Stacy returned home to her family.
Everybody's running up to me like, Stacy, are you okay? And what did that man do to you and all that?
And Josh wanted to see her. And Josh walked over there and said, hi, Stacy. You know, you could just see, you know, the relief on his face. And he told me, he said, Mom, I want to go home now.
I felt real glad because she was my friend.
Nearly a year later, Stacy's life is slowly returning to normal.
Well, she's a bit nervous. She doesn't sleep as well. She still wants to sleep with me all the time. She doesn't like to go to play with anybody. She wants them to come to the house. Doesn't like to talk about the kidnapping. Still upsets her, but she's loosening up a whole lot.
Josh is a hero to me because he ran back to my parents and told my parents so the police could arrest this man.
Josh had enough presence of mind to get the description of the suspect and get it down to almost perfect. He's what saved Stacy.
It wasn't even a quarter mile from our house, you know, she was just barely out of sight from us. The one thing that my family learned, you have to watch them because you never know what's going to happen. And you're the one that's put on this earth to protect them. You know, if you're not there, who's going to be?
Next.
Turned around, saw a little girl running around in the front seat of the car in back of us.
In the small town of Stafford, Virginia, the biggest supermarket is the Giant Food Store. Early on the morning of April 19, 1989, employee Milton Braxton was already hard at work there.
This one?
Milton is the best at what he does. The Goodwill Ambassador, that is a quote from one of the Giant training manuals. You're the first person a customer sees, and you're the last person they see.
Goodbye now.
Instead of attending a breakfast honoring him as the employee of the month, Milton had chosen to come to work as usual. Teresa Vowell was just finishing her weekly grocery shopping with her friend Linda Fisher.
She had a lot of stuff to do. I only had a few things to pick up. Teresa went her way, I went mine. I did what I had to do, checked out. Mikey and I went to the car to wait for her.
Teresa knew Milton from her regular shopping trips to the Giant.
Milton's always out in the loading dock. He's got a smile on his face. He's got a conversation like you wouldn't believe. He's happy to everybody.
4 months pregnant with her third child, Teresa put her daughter in the car with her friend Linda. She then drove them around to the loading zone to pick up her 8 bags of groceries from Milton.
How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, fine.
Good. Oh, let me move some stuff.
That's all right. Just take your time.
As they loaded the groceries into the trunk, another car pulled up behind them with a man and a little girl.
What's wrong with it today? You got a lot of them today.
I turned around, Saw a little girl running around in the front seat with the car in back of us.
His legs were caught in between those bumpers. I knew his legs were broke. He was so stunned he couldn't even talk. You could see in his eyes the pain. And I was so hysterical. I mean, my stomach was tensed up. My back was hurting.
Milton is hurt. He's hurt.
A call was placed to 911.
Staff with no emergency.
The call came in at 10:05 a.m. A rescue squad was immediately dispatched.
When I ran outside, all I saw was Milton laying on the ground.
Milton, you all right? What happened?
Grocery manager Tim Conklin came out as soon as he saw what had happened.
And at that time, somebody screamed, "Get a blanket, he's going to go in the shower."
You just hang on.
I called my mother, told her what had happened. I had real bad cramps in the lower part of my stomach and in my back. It felt just like that I was going to have a miscarriage with that baby.
Okay, let's put that on.
Outside, Teresa tried to comfort Milton.
Milton said, "I can't really feel my legs, Teresa." And I said, "Well, you're going to be just fine."
EMTs Bobby Talley, Lena Branham, and John Peterson arrived within a few minutes of the call.
He was laying on the ground on his side. The bones were broken into and they were separated.
Milton, I'm gonna cut your pants leg, all right? I cut your pants. Sure, get over it. Had to cut his pants up too, around his pocket area to put the splints on. So we had a long frac pack, what they call a frac pack splint. We had 2 of those and put those together. He was in a lot of pain, but he didn't act like it.
When you have a fracture and you straighten it, it's pinching off the muscles and it hurts bad.
Okay, Milton, one more.
If they're hurting real bad, I just give them my hand and I tell them to squeeze it.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Before they loaded him in the ambulance, I kissed him on his cheek because I was so grateful that he had pushed me out of the way.
Milton asked Tim to go with him to the hospital.
Milton just, ooh, his legs hurt. Oh, my legs hurt. I told him to scream, let it out. But he's not that type of person. A soft-spoken, easygoing guy. Didn't want anybody to know he was in any kind of pain.
And baby is positioned to this side.
Subsequent sonograms taken by Teresa's obstetricians seemed to show nothing wrong with the fetus, but had she been hit by the car, it would almost certainly have caused a miscarriage.
As we come up, you see the fetal heart.
With the impact, as hard as that car hit us, it would have broken both my legs and my baby would not have made it.
Milton Braxton's legs were both broken when he was struck by the car. He spent 2 weeks recuperating in the hospital.
And we stuck a little red basket on the top of the safe and put a little sign on it that said Milton's mailbox. People drop 10 and 15 cards in there a day.
Oh, yes, indeed. It was enough to do to cover the whole wall, and then some.
8 months after the accident, Milton is still undergoing physical therapy, hoping he'll soon be strong enough to return to work.
Well, it's typical of him to do something like this, to out of his way to help somebody else. It wasn't surprising to me when I heard what he had done.
I don't mind helping anybody. And I figured we don't need both of us to get hurt, so I just shoved her out the way. And I'll take a chance on getting out the way, after I get her out the way myself, but I couldn't do it and I just got hit.
I feel like he's like my guardian angel because without him there, this baby, it means so much to me to carry Holly. And, when she's born, I want him to hold her and feel the joy that he has given me and my husband both.
On October 31st, 1989, Holly Ann Vowell was born, a healthy baby girl.
Let me see. Yeah, you gaining some pounds. Yeah, you can make that small. Yeah, you can make that small.
Teresa's husband, Michael, also feels strongly about Milton.
You have to be exceptional to do what he did. If it wasn't for his courage, his character, there's no way that baby would be born.
He's just one of a million. He just loves people, you know. That's the only way to describe him. He doesn't think about himself, he thinks about others first.
It's good to see that there are people out there that really do and truly care about other people. It just shows me that yeah, there are some good people left in this world, and Milton Braxton's one of them.
Not every community has 911, so local emergency numbers should be posted at every phone, and children should be taught how to use them. This series is dedicated to the real heroes who answer our calls for help and risk their lives to save the life of a stranger. I'm William Shatner. Join me next week for more true stories on Rescue 911.